So let's begin this with a short kirtan, and I'll just sing the kirtan so we all can repeat one by one. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी. Everybody together. Radha Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody together. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome everybody to this wonderful Bhagavad Gita class. And so every single day in the weekdays we have a Bhagavad Gita class in the evening. So where we take one verse of Bhagavad Gita every single day. And we have already reached the 38th verse of the third chapter as it is displayed on the screen. But to have a quick recap, so that because every time new audience comes, and sometimes some people come who regularly come, they also come. So to come on the same page, let's have a quick recap so that we can understand the context of this chapter, this particular verse, and whatever has happened, whatever Krishna has spoken and Arjuna has spoken till now, so that we understand the context and then this verse can be taken up. So before going to this verse, let's have a quick recap of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, and the third chapter till verse number 37. So, in the first chapter, to have a quick summary, in the very starting, Arjuna is very confident, and both the parties, as we know, Kauravas and the second one, Pandavas. So both the parties are ready to fight. And Arjuna is very, very confident about the victory and about the fight. But suddenly, okay, before that, Arjuna asks Krishna, requests Krishna that, oh Krishna, please take because Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjuna. So Arjuna requests Krishna that, Krishna, please take this chariot, take my chariot in between the two armies, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. I want to see who all are there in the opposite army with whom we will fight. So then Krishna says, okay, so I will take the chariot. So then Krishna takes the chariot and places the chariot in between the two armies. And then Krishna says to Arjuna, this is in the first chapter. Krishna says to Arjuna that now the chariot is in between the two armies. Now behold the armies, Arjuna. See who all are there to fight. So then Arjuna starts looking at the opposite party, the Kauravas. And then something very astonishing happens. Arjuna is able to see his relatives, his brothers, obviously Kauravas, and his elders, like his teacher. Who is his teacher? Dronacharya, yes. So he sees his teacher Dronacharya and his grandfather. Who is his grandfather? Bhishma Pitama. So he sees all his relatives, all the elders, his teacher in the opposite army. And then he gets bewildered, completely bewildered. The confident Arjuna, the Arjuna who's a great warrior, who the opposite armies, the enemies surrender onto the feet of Arjuna. He's such a great warrior. He never misses any single arrow of his bow. Such a great warrior and such a confident warrior Arjuna now gets completely disturbed just by seeing his relatives. So now there are some of the things which are mentioned, which Arjuna says, or Arjuna mentions that, oh Krishna, this is happening with me now. So what are those things? Arjuna says to Krishna that my limbs are quivering, my mouth is drying up, my skin is burning, my body is trembling, and my Gandiva is the bow of Arjuna. So my Gandiva is slipping from my hands. And how can this happen? Because he's such a great warrior. This is like very, very astonishing, very surprising. That's such a great warrior, and that bow from his hand is slipping down. Okay. So this is the condition of Arjuna in the first chapter. And then Arjuna gives various reasons for not fighting. So he says to Krishna that, Krishna, I will not fight. I cannot fight, actually. So now he gives various reasons. Obviously, he gives justification. So basically, broadly, 4 reasons Arjuna gives to Krishna that I will not fight. I'll just give a quick summary. First reason is that he says to Krishna that there are my relatives. How can I fight with them? How can I kill them? They are my relatives. So he's having compassion for his relatives. This is the first reason, I will not fight. Second reason, okay, even if we win the battle of Kurukshetra and we get the kingdom back, the whole kingdom, but to share this happiness of victory and the kingdom, there should be someone with whom we can share this happiness. Let's say we win the kingdom, there should be someone with whom we can share the happiness. But if we kill everybody, then there is no one. So with whom we will share the happiness? I will kill all my brothers, I will kill the whole family. Then with whom I will share the happiness? So there is no point in getting the kingdom. I will not fight. Okay. Third reason Arjuna gives is, if we kill, we will incur sinful reactions. We will incur sin. We will do sin. And then reactions will come. We will do papa. And then reactions of those papa will come. So I will not fight. Such a mass killing will happen, right? So much sinful reaction will come. Obviously, a sane person, a good-hearted person will never want to kill anybody, right? So Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. Why he will like to kill? So that tendency is coming, compassion, and then sinful reactions will come. Then the final reason Arjuna gives is destruction of the dynasty. So we see that in the Vedic civilization, obviously now it's not there, unfortunately, but in the previous ages, in the previous time, earlier times, there used to be Vedic civilization. People used to live their lives on the basis of the principles of the Vedas, of the scriptures. And they used to be very, very righteous. So it used to happen that the elders of the family were given so much importance. Nowadays, it's not happening. The elders are thrown out of the houses, the parents are thrown out, and then the teacher is not given respect, and the grandparents are not given respect. As soon as the child grows up, and then he just says that I know I don't need my parents anymore. Just throw them out of the house. So there is no more respect for the elders in the society, in the family. But in the Vedic civilization, uh, the elders used to be given so much respect, and then the elders used to guide the family, because the elders also used to follow the Vedic injunctions. They used to take the shelter of the scriptures. So they were very, very intelligent and righteous. So they were able to guide the family. So, so Arjuna is telling that if I kill all the elders of the family, then no more elders are there in the family. So who will guide the family members? And then the family will be, instead of going into religious path, the family will be indulged in irreligious activities, sinful activities. So then what will happen? Then the woman will be polluted, will be exploited, and then the unwanted progeny, unwanted children will come up, and then they will destroy the society, and the whole society will be filled with irreligiosity. There will be no religious. It all starts with killing of the elders. There's no more elders in the society. So he doesn't want to kill. There's the reason. So I will not fight. Now, these are the reasons Arjuna gives. So this is a condition of Arjuna, and he gives reasons not to fight. This is the first chapter. Now let's come to the second chapter. It's a quick summary. Then first thing which Arjuna does is he surrenders to Krishna. And then we can learn a very nice lesson from this. Bhagavad Gita teaches, every verse of Bhagavad Gita teaches us a lesson. So what Arjuna is teaching us, that whenever we are in a state of confusion, in a state of bewilderment, illusion, where we are not able to think ourselves, and then we are not able to take the right decisions. Obviously, it happens with everybody. We can experience. So then what should we do? We should approach a bona fide authority. And that should be spiritual authority. Okay? Because the spiritual authority is able to judge the condition of that person. And he is able to pick up the person out of that illusion. It's just like, an example we can take to relate. So just like floods have come, or tsunami has come. So everything is submerged in the waters. Everywhere there is water, and then the water is very deep. So no one can do anything, and the people are drowning, and they are trying to come out. But the water is everywhere. They cannot see the end. So what happens is, let's say a helicopter comes, and then wherever the person is, it doesn't matter. It just picks up the person from that position, and then the helicopter takes him and then places him in a safe or nice situation, or nice place out of the water. So just like that, wherever we are in our bewilderment or confusion or illusory state, then what the bona fide spiritual authority will do, he will pick us up from that state and then place us in a right situation, or in a very proper situation where we can actually come out of that illusion or bewilderment. So Arjuna is teaching us this lesson. We should always approach a bona fide spiritual authority. Obviously, whether we are in state of illusion or not doesn't matter. We should always approach. Okay. Then Arjuna surrenders, and then Arjuna says to Krishna that, please guide me. I'm a surrendered soul unto you. So please guide me. Then first thing Krishna does is he smiles. Before speaking, he smiles. So Krishna's smile is very, very encapturing. Through his smile, he can put a person in illusion, or take out a person from the illusion. So Krishna first smiles, and then he starts speaking after that. So just a quick summary, what Krishna speaks. First thing he speaks about is, in the second chapter, is an analysis. He does an analysis between body and soul. What is body? What is soul? And what are the differences between body and soul? And then we can see that why Krishna is speaking between differences between body and soul, the characteristics of body and soul, this analysis, at the very starting of Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter. There are how many chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita, by the way? 18. So out of 18 chapters, in the second chapter only of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking about body and soul. Why? Because this is the foundation of spiritual life. Um, if a person is actually, at least theoretically understands this, that I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, then no more further, means then only he can progress further. This is the foundation. If the foundation is not strong, then the spiritual life cannot be started. So this is the foundation of spiritual life. To understand that or to realize, at least first theoretically, and then gradually that realization will come when we are sincerely practicing, that we are not the bodies, we are spirit souls. We are spiritual beings. So Krishna is giving the analysis that the soul is permanent, it never dies. And the body is temporary. The body is made up of 5 gross elements. What are those? Yes, fire, air, earth, water, and ether. The combination of this is there everywhere in the body. Fire, air, earth, ether, and water. These 5 gross elements. And then, but a soul is always Satchidananda. A soul is Sat, means he is eternal, it is eternal. And then Chit means all knowledgeable, filled with knowledge. And then Ananda. A soul is always blissful. Soul is always blissful. So Krishna gives this analysis between the body and the soul. And he also gives an example. Krishna gives himself the example in the Bhagavad Gita that just like I'm wearing this clothes now, and then today or tomorrow, let's say, tomorrow happens, means the next day comes, so I will not be wearing the same clothes again. I will change the clothes because the clothes become dirty, or let's say after some time the clothes become useless. The wear and tear happens, whatever. The clothes are no more wearable. Yes. So similarly, the body is just like clothes over the soul. So we have soul, and it's like a covering. It's just covering the body, covering the soul. So when the body becomes useless, what do you mean by body becomes useless? Yes, when we become old, or when the senses are no longer able to work properly, function properly. The eyes are not we are not able to see properly. The liver is failing, and digestion power has gone down. So when the senses, when the organs are not functioning properly, and we are going, the body is getting older and older, then we can say the body is becoming useless slowly. And at the end, when the death happens, the body becomes completely useless. So at that moment, the soul changes the body. That's what happens. So it's just like change of the clothes of a person. So the soul also changes the body, goes to the next body. And so Krishna gives some characteristics of soul, that soul can never be dried by wind. It can never be moistened by the water. It can never be cut by any weapon. It cannot be damaged. And then it cannot be burned by the fire. Anything of this material world cannot touch the soul, because it's spiritual. So spiritual and matter, the spirit and the matter are always opposite. So a matter can never actually influence the soul. Influence, and it means that it can never hamper the soul. Soul is always Satchidananda. It can never hamper it. Okay. So this analysis Krishna gives. But still Krishna, maybe Arjuna is not very much convinced. So then Krishna gives one more thing, one more type of discussion he does based on the activities of a person, activities of a soul. So it is mentioned in the scripture that a soul can never be idle. A soul is always active. We can experience ourselves, right? If we sit idle for some time, we'll be frustrated, right? So we always want to do something or think something. The mind is always active. The senses always want something to be engaged in. So a soul is always active. That is the nature of the soul. We can never take this nature of the soul away from soul. So the soul is always active. So Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that a soul is always active. Soul is never idle. Now, Krishna says that he recommends to Arjuna that do your duty. Never ever just renounce your duty um, unnecessarily, because from so many lifetimes, the soul has gone into several bodies. I mean, I also was there in a plant body millions of lifetimes ago, and then I passed on to, you know, the birds and the animals' bodies, insects, and so many other bodies, and finally I came to human body. So whenever I'm in a particular type of body, I have a particular type of mindset, or that body, I act in that way in that particular body, and I think in that way in that particular body, right? So the soul, or the living entity, is always acquiring the nature. The nature is changing. The nature is constantly changing according to the body we get. In this human life also, we have so many conditionings, right? We have a particular type of upbringing, particular type of surroundings, friends, and then our work culture. So everything is changing our nature or conditioning our mind. So a soul, a living entity, has a particular type of nature, and everybody has a different types of natures, right? So if we unnecessarily or artificially try to cut that nature, artificially, I'll try to restrict, okay, from now onwards I will not eat sweets, but I like sweets unnecessarily. Sorry, artificially, if I like to, if I try to cut off my senses, or I will not think from now onwards. It's artificial cutting of the mind, right? So it will not work. For sure, we will fall down from that state. Because the nature of the soul is to be active. We cannot make the senses, all the senses of the body and the mind inactive or artificially cut off. So that's what Krishna says to Arjuna. See, you have a particular type of nature. You are a Kshatriya, right? So you have to fight. If you don't fight, then actually you will incur sins. Sinful reactions will come. And you'll not be able to bear that. Right? So don't artificially try to renounce, or don't artificially try to cut off your nature. Act according to your nature. Whatever nature you have, act according to that. Then it will be natural, right? But Krishna also says one more important thing. We are acting. Okay, Arjuna will act. He will do his duty. But what should be the consciousness? Or how to act? We have a particular type of nature and we are acting according to the nature. So, but how to act? Or what should be the consciousness? So Krishna says that do your duty, and according to your nature, your prescribed duty. So for example, we have the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that if we look around the world, there are four types of people, four categories of people, four orders of life: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. This is not caste system. It's a natural categories. There's a natural categorization of everybody throughout the world. If you look around look around us, we will find these four categories only. Some people will be very much inclined towards acquiring knowledge, right? And then they will be in mode of goodness. They will be peaceful, calm, happy, satisfied. So they have Brahminical inclinations or nature. So these are all about qualities. They are not about some caste system or something, or based on birth. No. It's not like based on birth someone is a Brahmana. No, it's all about qualities, guna and karma, qualities and activities. So, and some person will have so much inclination towards administration, power, and then controlling, and then for example, some people go to armed forces. So they have that kind of nature, fight. So they have Kshatriya nature, administration. Some people will be naturally inclined towards, they have business mindset. If we tell them, oh, join armed forces, that will not work. He'll be frustrated, right? So everybody has a particular type of nature, and these are the four categories where we can categorize everybody. And we can look around ourselves also, and look around look around us. We'll find these four categories of people, and only these four categories. So it's very scientific. It's very, very scientific. So Krishna says that do your duty, don't artificially try to renounce, but do your duty and offer the results to me. That's very, very important. Offer the results to me. Don't be attached to the results. Because the attachment to the results of the activity, it's not like don't do the activities. No, do the activities. But the results which come, don't be attached to the results because you are not the enjoyer. You are not the doer. You are not the only doer. Right? There are many, many other factors. There are 5 factors which Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita which govern the results of a particular activity. So don't be attached to the fruits. Do your activity, do your duty, but without attachment to the fruits. Offer all the results to me, and then you will be purified. Like that. So this is the crux of the this particular discussion of Krishna. Now let's come to the 3rd chapter. In the starting of the 3rd chapter, Arjuna asked this question. Oh Krishna, you have given so much analysis about the soul and the body, and then you have told that better than fruitive work. Fruitive work means working or doing some activity, and whatever results come, being attached to the results. Right? That is called fruitive. Fruits. Fruitive means fruits. Fruits of the activities, and we are attached to that. So that is called fruitive work. So Arjuna says that, oh, better than fruitive work, better than being attached to the fruits, is better than that is intelligence or buddhi yoga. Should I renounce everything? Should I not fight at all? What do you want to say? Please clarify more. I'm not understanding. So Arjuna still didn't understand. Krishna moves further. So why Arjuna is asking is because he feels that if he fights, then he might get attached to the results of fighting, right? He might get attached to the results because the activities will bring attachment. So Arjuna is feeling that. He's still not convinced. So that's why Arjuna is asking this question. Then Krishna says in the 3rd chapter, in the beginning of the 3rd chapter, that just by renouncing from the work or abstaining from the work, we cannot get freedom from the reactions of our sinful actions. Right? Whatever we have done and sinful reactions are there to come, we cannot get free from those reactions just by renouncing the work. From today onwards, I will not do anything. I'll not go to office. I'll not work at all. No. You will not get freedom from the reactions. The papa, the reactions of the papa and punya will come. We don't get freedom. Just by renouncing or abstaining from work. That's what Krishna says in the 2nd chapter also. And also by renouncing, by taking to the renounced order of life. Some people take to the renounced order of life. Just by doing that artificially without understanding properly, he will not achieve perfection of life. Just by renouncing without understanding properly. Then why again Krishna repeats this? Why this happens? Why Krishna is saying that just by abstaining from work, one will not achieve freedom from reactions. Just by taking to renounced order of life, one will not achieve perfection. Why? Because again Krishna repeats that everyone is helpless to act according to his nature. So if it artificially tries to cut off the nature, then he will be helpless. The nature will force us to act. Right? So by the way, there are 3 modes of material nature. The whole nature acts through 3 modes. Everywhere. This mat is influenced by 3 modes. The body is influenced by 3 modes. The mind is influenced by 3 modes. This mic is influenced by 3 modes. Everything is influenced by, everyone is influenced by 3 modes. In the whole nature is acting through 3 modes. What are those 3 modes? Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. In Sanskrit, people might have heard Sattva Gun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. So the combination of these 3 modes are there everywhere. In the eatable, the food items, in the thought process, in the body, everywhere, on the floor, everywhere. So because the modes, everyone is having a particular type of combination of these 3 modes, and the nature is acting according to that. So he has a particular type of nature, and then he will helplessly act according to that. If someone has a Brahminical nature, he will act accordingly. If someone, the mode of goodness is dominating, he will be satisfied. He will be happy, calm and peaceful. If someone is influenced by mode of passion, he will be restless always. He will have so many desires, he will not be able to fulfill, get frustrated. And then if someone is predominantly influenced by the mode of ignorance, the tamogun, he will always feel lazy, sleepy, and then I don't want to do anything. I'm confused about life. Should I do this or that? What is the goal of life? He will never be able to understand. So always confused, mode of ignorance. So the nature is acting, and he has a particular type of nature. There is a there is a particular type of combination which is there in his nature. So he will be helpless to act. So just by artificially renouncing your work, you will never be able to achieve freedom from reactions, and you will never be able to achieve perfection also of life. So don't do that. Don't cut off artificially. That's what Krishna is again repeating. Do your prescribed duty. And then again Krishna is repeating how to do that. The consciousness behind doing work. So Krishna is saying that just do it as a matter of duty and offer the results to me. Do it as a devotional service unto me. Right? Knowing that I am the enjoyer. Krishna is the enjoyer of everything. He is the supreme enjoyer. I am not the enjoyer. If I consider that I am the enjoyer, I am the master, then I'll be frustrated for sure. I am the controller. No, Krishna is the controller. Krishna is the enjoyer. Krishna is the master of everything and everyone. So if someone has that consciousness, he works, he does his best, and whatever fruits come, the results come, he offer it to Krishna. Then he will be free from the attachment, and he will be free from all the reactions of work. So that's what Krishna says. And one more very nice thing Krishna teaches Arjuna, that don't ever follow or imitate anyone else. Imitate, right? For example, nowadays it's happening, right? The child wants to become a doctor, but the parents force him to become an engineer. So the child is frustrated in life. So that's what is happening. There is so much, khichdi. I mean, the child is not clear many times, and the parents try to force child in a particular way, or parents are not able to understand the nature of the child. So that's why the whole society is like very, very disturbed at this point of time, because no one is acting according to the nature one has. If someone has a particular type of inclination, he should act in that way. So that it's very logical. If a person acts in a particular according to his nature, he doesn't imitate others. So Krishna says, don't imitate others' duties. Try to do only your duty. Whatever nature you have, act according to that nature, your own nature. Don't try to follow others. Don't try to imitate others. Not follow, imitate others. Right? Act according to your own nature. That's a very, very good lesson from Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is very practical. And one who follows Bhagavad Gita, he will be happy in life. Right? So Bhagavad Gita is a manual of life, how to live life. So that's what Krishna is teaching Arjuna, and it's a good lesson for us. Now, finally, we have come to the verse number 36, and today's verse is verse number 38. So let's get a quick insight and context of this verse number 38. So in the verse number 36, Arjuna asks a question. Now Krishna was speaking for so many verses. Now Arjuna asks a question again. That Krishna, even if one doesn't want to act or do sinful activities, still why a person is forced to act or to act sinfully, or he is forced to do sinful activities? Why? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any sinful activities. But why a person is forced to act in that way? Why? What is the reason behind it? I want to know. Even if I know what is right, what is wrong, still I'm forced to do sinful activities. Why? What is the reason? So then Krishna again starts speaking, and in the verse number 37 of this chapter, Krishna says that the reason is one word: lust. Kama. That is the reason. So what is this lust all about? In one of the books of Srila Prabhupada, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter number 31, Srila Prabhupada explains what is lust. If one is too much attached to satisfy his own senses, that is called lust. If one is too much attached to satisfy his own senses, it can be his mind, the senses, whatever, all the different senses. If he's too much attached to just satisfy his own senses, always is thinking how to satisfy my own senses, how to satisfy myself, how to satisfy my mind, how to satisfy my intelligence, my. That is called lust. That's it. If someone is too much attached to that. So, so that is the definition of lust. Now, naturally, if a person is too much attached to satisfy his own self always, then what will happen? He'll be having so many desires, and at the end, if the desires are not fulfilled, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, then it results into extreme anger, and then the person completely falls down from his position wherever he is. So it's very important to understand this principle of lust. It forces a person. That's what Arjuna is asking. What is that force which is acting? I don't want to do sinful activities, but still I'm forced to do it. Why? What is the reason? Then Krishna says lust. That is the reason. That's the answer. And we saw what is lust, right? Because one is too much attached to gratify his own senses. Then after that, Krishna comes to today's verse, which is verse number 38. So let's chant this verse. Maybe I will chant and you can repeat after me. Okay, let me zoom a little bit. It is visible to everybody, right? Okay. Dhumena vahanir yatha darsho malena cha yathol vrito garbhas tatha te nedamavritam. Okay. So we'll go to translation and purport. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, translation. As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. So now Krishna is talking about, he's going more deeper into the aspect of lust. What is lust? Right? So he's talking about three things. So basically he's talking about the different degrees of this lust. Now we saw what is lust. What is lust? Yes. Too much attachment to fulfilling my own sense gratification or satisfying my own senses. Always too much attached. That is lust. Now Krishna is going more deeper and he's talking about different degrees of lust. Different degrees of lust. Okay. So we'll see in the purport. There are 3 degrees of the covering of the living entity by which his pure consciousness is obscured. This covering is but lust under different manifestations like smoke in the fire, dust on the mirror, and the womb about the embryo. When the lust is compared to smoke, it is understood that the fire of the living spark can be a little perceived. In other words, when the living entity exhibits his Krishna consciousness slightly, he may be likened to the fire covered by smoke. Although fire is necessary when there is smoke, there is no overt manifestation of fire in the early stage. This stage is like the beginning of Krishna consciousness. The dust on the mirror refers to a cleansing process of the mirror of the mind by so many spiritual methods. The best process is to chant the holy names of the Lord. The embryo covered by the womb is an analogy illustrating a helpless position, for the child in the womb is so helpless that he cannot even move. This stage of living condition can be compared to that of the trees. The trees are also living entities, but they have been put in such a condition of life by such a great exhibition of lust that they are almost void of all consciousness. The covered mirror is compared to the birds and the beasts, and the smoke covered fire is compared to the human being. In the form of a human being, the living entity may revive a little Krishna consciousness, and if he makes further development, the fire of spiritual life can be kindled in the human form of life. By careful handling of the smoke in the fire, fire can be made to blaze. Therefore, the human form of life is a chance for the living entity to escape the entanglement of material existence. In the human form of life, one can conquer the enemy lust by cultivation of Krishna consciousness under able guidance. Okay. So here, Krishna is, as we saw, right? Krishna is trying to explain the 3 degrees of lust, different degrees of lust, and he himself is giving 3 examples to explain the different degrees of lust. First example is fire. Just try to imagine fire, and there is a smoke, and the smoke is covering the fire, or basically fire covered by smoke. First example. Second is a mirror. Mirror is covered by dust. This second, we will go more deeper. Just to now, we are just seeing what are these 3 examples. We are counting those. So a mirror is covered by dust. Second. Third is an embryo, a child, covered by the womb, or the child inside the womb, completely covered by the womb. So these are 3 examples which Krishna is giving to explain that these, we can understand by these 3 examples the different degrees of lust. Okay, let's see how. When we take the first example, the fire is, sorry, let's start from the third one. So the embryo is covered by the womb. Now we can see that when the embryo or when the child is inside the womb, can we see the child? No, we cannot see the child, right? It's not visible. So the womb is like a very, very thick covering over the child. We cannot see the child. So just try now. Let's try to compare. So now, what is this? This example is there, a child inside the womb, and now let's compare it with a living entity, the soul, covered by lust. Okay, a soul, and the soul is always having pure consciousness, as here it is mentioned. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning a living entity, a soul is always having pure consciousness, but that pure consciousness is covered by lust. Okay. So let's take the first example, embryo covered by womb. And we are comparing it with, embryo is compared with soul, the living entity, and the womb is like a covering over the child, the embryo. And that covering is nothing but lust in this case, where the soul is there. Lust covering the soul, and then womb covering the embryo. But now we can see that the covering is so thick that we are not able to see the embryo. Right? So what we can understand by this? The living entity is so much covered by the lust, the consciousness, the pure consciousness of the soul is so much covered by the thick covering of lust that he is not able to exhibit that pure consciousness. The covering of lust is so much, so thick, right? And that person is too much attached, too much, completely engrossed in lust, completely engrossed. So basically here we are covering the thickness, comparing the thickness of that covering. The womb is so much thick, we are not able to even see the embryo, right? Similarly, the covering is so thick of that lust that the pure consciousness of the soul is not able to exhibit that. So that's what here this example is showing. The degree of lust is too high. The second example. Okay, first before going to the second example, Srila Prabhupada is also comparing this with one more thing, the living entities. Okay, which type of living entities have so much thick covering of lust? So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that trees. We can see that trees are also living beings. Insects are also living beings. The birds and the animals, human beings. Everybody is a living entity. Everybody is a soul. Same soul. Satchidananda, same, having pure consciousness. But different types of bodies are defining how much thick covering of lust is there on the pure consciousness. So this this particular example is compared to trees. Because trees, we can see that the trees are always static, they never move. So, but we are able to move, right? The animals are able to move, insects and human beings are able to move. But the trees are always inert, they are static. So, it is mentioned in the Shastras that they are also living entities. Same, I am also soul, as living entity, the tree is also soul. But the tree body, he has got a tree body, and the consciousness is very, very inert, very, very much covered actually. So, and it is also covered by so much of lust. So there's a very thick covering of lust in the tree body. Okay. Now let's take the second example. The mirror covered by the dust. Um, if we compare it with the third example, embryo covered by womb, are we able to see the embryo? No. But at least in the second example, the mirror covered by dust, we are able to see the mirror. Mirror is there in front of us, but it is covered by dust. So we are able to see the mirror. So mirror is compared to soul. So, and then, but it is covered by dust. So here we can see that the degree of lust is little bit low. Little bit low. We are able to see the mirror, right? There we were not able to see the embryo. The soul was too much covered. That he was not, he was not able to exhibit his pure consciousness. Here at least some degree of pure consciousness he is able to exhibit. Some degree. Right? We are able to see the mirror. Means we are able to see the soul. Able to see the soul means the soul is able to exhibit his consciousness, pure consciousness, little bit more than the tree. So what are the living entities who are exhibiting this second degree of lust? It is animals and birds and beasts. Right? They have a little higher consciousness than the trees. And the degree of lust is a little bit low compared to the trees. That is the thing. Now let's take the last example. Fire covered by smoke. Now, when the fire is covered by smoke, we are able to see the fire very, very clearly, right? And by careful handling of the smoke, we can make the fire blaze like anything. The fire can actually blaze. It can grow and grow and grow, right? So we are able to see the fire. First thing is this. So we are able to see the soul. It means that the soul is to a great degree, soul is able to exhibit his consciousness. And by careful handling of the smoke, means here smoke is compared to lust, the covering of lust. It's not very thick, it's just a slight covering. So if we carefully handle that covering, carefully remove that covering, we will be able to see the fire very, very clearly, right? Consciousness will emerge very clearly. The pure consciousness will again be emerging. So this example is compared to human beings. So in the human form of life, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the end that the human form of life is very, very precious. That actually the soul is passing through so many bodies, the tree body, the bird's body, the animal, same soul, animal body. The body is changing again and again, it is dying and again new body is coming, it is dying, body is dying, again soul is coming out of the body, again entering into another next body. So like that, the transmigration of soul is happening and finally it reaches the human form of life. It is so precious. Durlabham Manusham Janma, Prahlad Maharaj says in Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, that Durlabham, the human form of life, Manusham Janma, that the Manushya Janma is Durlabham, so Durlabh, so rarely obtained. After so many lifetimes, we get a soul gets the human body. So we have to utilize it. If we carefully handle that smoke, the covering of lust, which is very thin, then we will be able to remove it. And the pure consciousness, the fire-like pure consciousness will be able to emerge like anything, right? So we'll be able to attain the goal of life, the self-realization. Who am I? Who is Krishna? Who is God? And what is my relationship with the Lord? In the animal life, it is not possible. In Mahabharata, it is said that the animal is always engaged in 4 basic activities: eating, sleeping. We can observe all around us. If we see the dog, when I come to this center where I'm staying, there are 2 dogs which stay, in one of the corners near one shop. I always see they're always busy in finding out the food and then protecting their body. If someone is coming to beat them, they will bark and they will try to protect. They will run away or they will bark. They will try to protect. So eating, they are concerned about finding the food, eating, defending, and then sleeping. They want to sleep nicely, right? And then many times in the daytimes we are struggling and coming from office, and then in the evening they are sleeping very, very nicely. So they are always concerned about eating, defending the body, sleeping, and then mating and enjoyment. So animal is always, or the other species are always concerned about, or always engaged in these four activities only. Their whole existence is there in these four activities. They cannot think higher than this. They cannot think higher than this. But in the human form of life, we have got the intelligence. The intelligence is so strong. The covering of lust is so thin that we can use our intelligence and we can inquire about the higher reality of life. That who am I? We can ask this question. The Vedanta Sutra starts with this verse, Athato Brahma Jignasa. That now you have got the human form of life, inquire about the higher reality, about the absolute truth. Who am I? Where am I? Why am I here? What this world is all about? Who created this universe? And who is maintaining this universe? How it is so nicely balanced? And then, is there a source of everything? Who is he? What am I supposed to do? What is the purpose of my existence? Why am I living? What is this life all about? All these amazing intellectual questions we are able to ask in the human form of life. We are able to write, obviously, we also do these four activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending the body. But we can also rise above these four activities and also ask the higher questions. But which animals, other species, not even animals, birds, trees, no one can do. They're conditioned, they are programmed to act in those four activities. That's it. But we can break the programming and we can rise above the human form. That's what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. That the human form of life is a chance for the living entity to escape the entanglement of material existence. To escape the entanglement of material existence. And he can conquer, one can conquer the enemy. And Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that what is the greatest enemy? It is lust. That is the greatest enemy. But we can conquer in the human form of life. How we can conquer? Now this is a very, very important question. The question is how? We can conquer, we can ask about the higher reality. No, we have that intelligence, capability. But how to do that? Or how to conquer this great enemy, lust? How to break the cycle of birth and death? So that is by cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. By cultivation of Krishna consciousness. What is Krishna consciousness? To understand that who am I? Who is Krishna? Who is God? And what is my relationship? Right? And so we understand that I am a part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that everybody is my Amsha, my part and parcel. Krishna is saying that everyone is coming from me. I am the seed giving father. Aham Bija Pradaha Pita. I am the seed giving father of all the living entities. So Krishna is saying that everybody is coming from me. Everybody is my Amsha, my part and parcel, my fragmental part and parcel. So as a part and parcel of Krishna, what is my duty? What should I do? This question should come. So there's a very nice example which the Shastras explain. Just like I will ask you a question. If you want to always see a plant growing and always nourished, green and so how you can do that? Will you give water on every part of the plant? Okay, I will give water to leaves. I will give water to flowers separately. I will give water to the fruits which are coming out. I will give water to the stem, to the branches. Will you give water separately to every part of the plant? So what will we do to nourish the plant? Yes, we will give the water to only just the root. That's it. The root will do the rest of the thing, right? The water will go to all the parts of the plant body. And the whole body of the plant will be nourished by the water. So similarly, as a part and parcel of Krishna, just like the fruits and the branches and flowers and stem are the parts of the tree, the body of the tree, right? The parts and parcels of the body of the tree. Similarly, Krishna is like complete whole and we are his parts and parcels. So, what are all the parts and parcels of the body of the tree are doing? They are serving the tree body, they are serving the whole body, right? For example, this finger, this hand, what is it is doing to the body? It is serving the body. It is picking up the food and putting in the mouth. And what is the stomach doing? It is digesting the food, and then it is supplying the nutrition, right? Nutrients. So the body, all the parts are nourished. So all the parts, all the organs of the body are trying to serve the body. This is a very important principle to understand. Similarly, as a part and parcel, as a part and parcel of the whole, complete whole Krishna, our duty is to serve Krishna. It's very logical, right? We can understand from our body only. All the organs of the body are serving the body. Similarly, so it's a duty of all the organs to serve the body. Similarly, as parts and parcels of Krishna, our duty is to serve Krishna. And my relationship is that I'm the part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and my duty is to serve Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. And by cultivation of this Krishna consciousness, under able guidance, not whimsically, but under proper guidance of the bona fide spiritual authorities, under their guidance, if we are able to practice Krishna consciousness, then we'll be able to conquer this great enemy, which is lust. So Krishna basically is, giving some more analysis, going more deeper into lust, the degrees of lust, to make Arjuna understand about this, about the answer of his question. And then Srila Prabhupada is, explaining even more nicely that he's coming at the conclusion that how we can conquer this enemy, lust, and perfect our human form of life. So we'll stop here. If anyone has any question, one can ask. Yeah, they are also living entities.
So they are also, due to their evil virtues in their past life, they become trees.
Yes. In the Shastras, this is your question? Yeah. In the Shastras, it is mentioned that a soul who is engaged in, who always wants to expose his or her body, openly, then he gets a chance to expose his body for so many years. So you can see, right, the trees are always standing. It doesn't matter whether the winds are there, whether the summer is there, or winter is there, or rain is there. They're always exposing themselves. Right? It's very logical to understand. So some soul who has a desire to expose his body through whatever means. Right? So the nature fulfills the desire of that soul, of the living entity, and he puts that living entity into the tree body. So the tree body is not considered very great in that way, in terms of consciousness, because that's what the desire is to, just expose his or her body. So then those are put into the tree body. They are given the tree body, and the nature gives them the chance. Okay, you have the desire. Okay, now expose yourself. Throughout, so many years, like trees, there are many trees who are standing for so many years. So like that. So nature is acting according to whatever desire we have. So that's why it is very important to see what desire I have in the human form of life. If I want to swim very nicely, the nature will make sure that we get a fish body in the next life, so that we are able to fulfill that desire very nicely. In the human body, we can't 24 hours swim, right? Our body will not support. But I have a desire, strong desire. So nature will make sure that in the next life become a fish, so that the whole life you can swim. Whole life, fulfill your desire like that. So it's very important to check what is my desire, and that decides what the next body will be. Like that, desires and my activities. Yeah.
But you are sharing the truth because we have the knowledge about our own and because we are the poor people has always the desire to rich person, so they become the rich person in the next life.
Yeah, if someone has a desire, obviously, he will work hard, and the nature will make sure that yes, the desire will get fulfilled. That's what. So that's why in Krishna consciousness, the devotees always have desire, like Krishna was mentioning, right? Do your duty. It's not that we should not have desires. We should have desires because it's the nature of the soul. we can never be desire free. We can never be free from desires. A soul always have desires. A soul always wants to act. Soul is always active. But we can dovetail our desires for the pleasure of the Lord. Whatever desires we have, whatever talents we have, whatever desires, whatever capabilities we have or desires we have, we can employ those desires and activities and talents and capabilities in the service of the Lord. We can dovetail those. It's not like we have to leave anything or cut off artificially anything. No. That same nature, whatever we have, whatever Krishna has given us, the same thing can be employed. The same body, the same mind, the same desire, the same whatever, the same talents, the same capabilities, the same energy can be employed in the service of the Lord. Instead of satisfying my own senses selfishly through lust. That's what. So Krishna consciousness is very practical. It's just about changing the consciousness, right? And dovetailing everything in the service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. It's very practical. It's very natural and practical. Any more questions?
You said like we should not imitate any other anyone. Like if he is good, we want to imitate.
Okay, there is one thing called imitation and another thing is seeking inspiration. We can seek inspiration, right? What is wrong in seeking inspiration from somebody? If someone is doing really great in something, so we can seek inspiration from him or her. But imitation means that maybe that is not my nature, but I'm just trying to artificially act in that way. For example, maybe I'm not very skilled, skilled actor, but I'm just imitating Shah Rukh Khan. Will I ever be able to become Shah Rukh Khan? No. Not by imitation, but by actually working upon it, right? And understanding what is my nature and acting according to that. That will really help. If it just try to imitate and imitation means artificially acting. It's artificial. It's not natural. But we can seek inspiration and employ or utilize that inspiration or use that inspiration in whatever I am doing. I'm acting according to my nature, but I can seek inspiration. I can learn from others. I can learn good things. Whatever. I can seek inspiration. So seeking inspiration and imitating, these are two different things. We should never imitate, but we can seek inspiration. It's clear, right? Any other question? Okay, so we'll end here. Thank you very much for attending this Bhagavad Gita class. And before ending, I would just like to show one thing which is very amazing. So some time back, ISKCON Whitefield has launched an app which is called Shloka a Day. I don't know how will I be able to show. So there's an app called Shloka a Day. If you go to the Play Store and just search this particular app, if I open it, so it will look like this. So Shloka a Day. So if you search this app, then it has all the verses of Bhagavad Gita in the form of short videos. Every single verse of Bhagavad Gita. How many verses are there in Bhagavad Gita, by the way? All the 18 chapters. Total how many verses? 700. Can you imagine? All the verses of Bhagavad Gita are covered in this. So much endeavor has been put in this to record the videos and to benefit all the people. So because everybody is wants some short videos and people don't have patience to hear long videos. So these are short videos, but it has everything. So it has all the practical applications of those verses also. So if we can download this app Shloka a Day, it will be having the icon is so the logo is like the icon is like this. There will be a book which is opening, and then in between there is the logo of ISKCON. So book is opening like this, Shloka a Day. Okay, so we can download this and take benefit out of it. It also has text, so we can watch the video and then also there is a text. So the shloka, the translation, word to word meanings, purport, whatever we saw right now, everything is there. Text form also, and then video is also there. So we can take benefit of this. Okay. So we're very grateful for everybody who has attended the class, And if you can come regularly like this, so if you can come regularly like this, whenever we have time to hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, the holy scriptures, then they will surely be able to attain the perfection of human life. And Srila Prabhupada has um, sacrificed so much to give this Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita to us. He used to sleep just for 2 hours in a day. Can you imagine? We cannot do that. We cannot imitate. Right? So he is the empowered Acharya. He can do that. So he used to just sleep for 2 hours every single day from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and then he used to just translate Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, um, and then till 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the morning. And then he used to attend so many other, address so many people. And in such a short period of time, just 10 to 12 years, he established 180 temples all across the world. And taken this message of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita to all over the world. And we can see the transformation all around us. So many people are coming in touch with these holy scriptures and then getting transformed. Not to just what to speak of the old people or whatever. The youth are coming and they are getting so much transformed, and this transformation is spreading like fire. So we also can help ourselves first by reading, by hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and then also contribute in spreading this to others all over the world in the society. Then we'll be able to do a great service to this mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada. So with this gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, let's end this class today. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.